Well, one thing, those of you watching The Brew and follow Joel and I on Twitter, is that we like to travel a lot. And we got another great travel show to talk about tonight. Joel, do you like flying?
Fuck no. Fuck flying.
It's just one of those things you got to do when you like to travel like you and I do.
You have to. That's true. It is necessary.
Well, hey, look at it this way. It's a lot better than the days, like, if I wanted to go see you out west, I didn't have to get aboard a Conestoga wagon and, like, sacrifice my whole, like, life and year to get out there. But hey, we want you to join in right now and talk about annoying airline passengers. What's the worst experience you ever had on a plane with another passenger? Not talking about the Conestoga wagon, airline passengers. And I'm telling you what, we're getting big money out of that airline B-roll we purchased as well. So we want to know your opinion. Join us live right now and tell us what's the worst experience with other airline passengers. And Joel, before we share stories, I think we should start off with the poll tonight, because I asked the question out on Twitter, have you ever been annoyed by another passenger in flight? Surprisingly, only 56% of the people said they were annoyed, 44% said no. I truly thought that would be a landslide.
Yeah, it sounds up. What's the reasoning?
I don't know. It's our followers. But yeah, I mean, of course, more people have had problems, 56%. Okay, that makes sense. But I really thought it would be like a lot more. But we got a lot of great stories for you that you guys have chimed in tonight. Joel and I have stories too. So let's get to your first one, by the way. It's from Gracer Dad. I love his name. His first story is, kept grabbing my earbuds from my ear to let me know if they wanted to see better past me to look out the window. This happened about a dozen times total. Literally would take my earbud out without asking, then to talk to me. Okay, Joel, that's freaky when you got a guy sitting next to you who keeps taking out your earbuds. It's kind of gross.
Yeah, read my response. Read the other people's response and read mine.
We'll put those up at the bottom of the screen, but basically everybody was saying, like, yeah, isn't that kind of like assault? Yeah, you can't touch a dude like that.
You can't touch a dude or a chick. I like how you only said dude. That's fucking creepy. But
well,
yeah,
no, you know what I meant. Well,
well,
because the story, the guy was a dude. It was two dudes. That's why.
You can't touch anybody without their consent, period.
There you go. Also, like, their earbuds. I mean, you're talking like earwax and stuff in there. Like, now you're just getting into like gross territory. But let me ask you, what's the worst experience you ever had with an airline passenger?
Some dude tried to jack me off. No, I'm just playing.
Yeah. And that's our show today. Good night, everybody. No, don't click off.
I was flying to Hawaii, and this is not the last time I went to Hawaii, but it was the time before that. Mm. And I was sitting on the flight, and I was in the aisle lane, not the aisle lane, the window lane, and someone was in the middle. And the dude was like 400 pounds. He smelled like shit, and he kept drooling. And it was like the worst experience ever. I couldn't do anything. It was an overnight flight, too, so it was impossible to sleep. And it basically took a day away from my vacation just because of shit luck.
Yeah, that does kind of slobbering all over. Hard pass on that one. I mean, I've had issues, too. I guess the worst I ever had is a baby. Now, when you're flying back from Vegas, you're generally pretty hungover, especially coming back this way. You're pretty much losing a whole day going from, Vegas to New York. And of course, I had a flight. It was a 7 a.m. early one. As you know, I leave early on Sunday. And the kid screamed the whole frickin' flight. I wish they'd bring back Hooters Air, and I will pay, I don't care how many hundreds of dollars more to have a flight where there's no kids, so I never, ever have to go through that again, because I don't think there was a single person that got off that flight here in Newark Airport that wasn't pissed off.
I'm not really surprised that would be the case. I think that they should have, I mean, they can't do this, but it would be cool that if they had flights after a certain time, you can't bring a baby on the flight.
Yeah.
Because people don't want to be bothered in the middle of the night, especially on like red eyes and shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's certain cities where you travel from that like, there's going to be people. It's Vegas, a party town. People aren't exactly going to want to deal with children. If I'm coming back from Disney World, Orlando, okay, I get it. Bring your kids. They're going to lots of kids. But coming back on an early morning or red-eye flight from Vegas, I think they should honestly, I will pay $200 more to make sure there's no kids in that flight so that nobody ever has to experience that. Because let's be honest.
You can't abort other people's children, Joe.
Well, no, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. You keep having those flights, but, have like one special flight where you pay a little bit more that could be adults only. That's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to be like anti-kid or anything.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. It is what it is, because let me tell you, there were a lot of ticked off people on that flight, and a kid doesn't know any better. And I feel for the moms out there too, because that's a lot to deal with, having to deal with a kid in a flight and all your luggage and getting through TSA and security. It's just a big rigmarole for everyone. So, yeah, I get it. But let's go on to our next viewer story because Tybox wrote in and he said, regional flight from Montreal to Newark. She pretended to ask the flight attendant where the baby life vests were on the plane. The flight attendant told her they were in the back overhead compartment. She freaked out and told the attendant to move it up front for the safety of her baby. Badgered the poor flight attendant for a solid 10 minutes. I saw a free seat in the back and told a lady she could take the empty seat back there to be close to life vest for her baby. The lady rudely declined and told me to mind my own business, at which time I let her know that it wasn't about her baby's safety and just pure entitlement that drove her to beat up on the flight attendant. Security came on and asked them if there was a problem. She angrily told them the story and they asked her to leave. They said we will refund your money, but you're not welcome on this flight anymore. She started apologizing profusely. Security still insistent. Eventually it calmed down. She stayed in her seat and was quiet the entire flight. I, on the other hand, was handed a very generous pouring of whiskey and a nice smile. Long story, but at the end of the day, Mark was being a nice guy and he got himself a complimentary beverage, whereas Mom probably had enough.
Dear everyone, it's not our fault you have fucking kids. It's not our fault, and we have no obligation whatsoever to make any adjustments. You have to make all of them if you have a fucking kid.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, once again, I'll pay a couple $100 extra more to be on a flight without children. But at least in this case, the flight attendant recognized that he was trying to help her. And that's a tough situation. Like, there's no wins. But hey, you know what? Then book the seat in the back or do your research before you get in the plane to know where the flight vest
Don't cost shit.
You got to feel for these flight attendants, too. They got a lot to deal with in their own situation. They got a whole plane full of people they're serving drinks to and trying to, like, make everybody happy. So the last thing they want to do is have to deal with anything extra like that. Let's go on to our next comment because Mr. Bizarro sent in a story. He says, I have a window seat. Guy next to me slept. One of them took off their shoes to reveal a wet, hot foot odor. I sat there for 16 hours. Didn't go to the restroom lest I wake them. Turbulence lifted me off my seat. I'm over 250 pounds. Can't get tossed slightly like that. I was in shock from being lifted and in horror as the snoring Asian guy drooled with his face starting to tilt towards me zombie-like. I was literally trapped between having a seatbelt on and two guys next to me, and on the other side was a window. It was a mix of emotions, but mostly annoyed. Whew. Okay, so you're trapped by two people because he sat in the window seat, and then the one guy stunk. That, I guess, is one thing that you don't want to do. You don't want to be the passenger sitting next to the stinky guy.
Yeah, thanks.
yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's happened to me in the subway before, so I feel with the guy. And then, like, when we flew back from Seattle last year, like, the guy who's sitting next to me had this giant thing of luggage, like, in between his legs. And he was a big dude to begin with. And I was stuck in a middle seat because they ended up, like, putting me on a different flight. And it ended up being, like, just pure torture for him, me, and everybody else. Because, damn it, they just keep making those seats smaller and smaller, too. Don't you find that sometimes you're really, really sandwiched in?
Yeah, I'm not that big of a dude, but it's even small for me. So, especially fat motherfuckers or big, tall people, like I feel for you guys because it's really uncomfortable, and people are usually a little bit more pissed off because they're a little bit more cramped.
I almost just spit my drink out on the camera there, by the way. That was pretty good. But, yeah. Well, remember, wasn't that Kevin Smith at one time? Now that he's skinny after his heart attack, wasn't he, like, denied a seat because he was too fat back in the day, like a few years ago?
Probably. I don't know the story, but that sounds about right.
Yeah, I think it was. He got thrown off a flight, then went like ape shit on them online because, you have your customers the size too. So sometimes you got to think about that when you book your flights too. Here's what I say. Here's my suggestion. The bottom line is to make your flight better, do your research ahead of time. If you want that life vest, if you want the toddler vest in the back, it'll be close to the restroom. Take 3 seconds and think, do your research, and plan the flight that you want. I pick flights so I can sit on the aisle so I can get up and use the can. I don't ask anybody else to trade seats or whatever. I book ahead of time. So, and you kind of do that too, Joel. Like, you think about things before you book where some people are like, oh, no, just accommodate me because I paid.
Yeah, people that are really entitled and people that don't fly very often probably bring that entitlement onto the flight a little bit.
Yeah.
But everybody has to have a high tolerance because you're in a society where you're dealing with people you don't want to deal with.
That's true, especially when you're cooped up on a plane for many, many hours. Well, hey, two people out there that you want to deal with, though, are Joel and I, so make sure you click that like and subscribe button down there so you don't miss any more episodes of The Brew. Or on Thursdays, kicking back with Jersey Joe, it's Beverage Trivia. How much do you know about your favorite alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages? I play a great game with Alexa. See who walks away winner and see how well you do Thursday, starting at noon Eastern, on an all-new Kicking Back with Jersey Joe. And one thing we know also, besides talking about travel here in The Brew, we know a few things about beverages.
Just a few.
Just a
thousands.
few. Yeah, that's right. You heard it here first. Well, hey, thanks for our live viewers. Thanks for your great stories. Jersey Joe here, Ion in the Box over there from Vegas. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, I hope.